I do believe we're going to be saved by the bell, that we're going to get a reprieve, or as my dad in spirit would often say, I've gotten a reprieve from the governor because he never knew the governor, but he had a sense of humor. Anyway, yeah, things are dark. Things are pitch black dark. Am I scared? Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm scared. I talk to my spirit guides every day and ask them to please let me leave this country. But so far, my request has been denied. So let's talk about what it means to be in the trenches, to what it means to be in the trenches of a place where we're seeing our democracy erode, actually slip through the fingers of justice every single day. Seems like every minute of every day, right? I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium. I've been predicting politics for many years. And I have to say, overall, the spirit guides have been very right about so many things, right? Like even just recently, I saw a little excerpt, I think, out of Kamala Harris's book where she said she really wanted to choose Pete Buttigieg, but she knew he wouldn't be accepted by the public. And that is exactly what the spirit guide said from the beginning. That last year they said she wants Pete Buttigieg, just like their brother and sister from another time. Maybe they really are, but she couldn't do it. So the spirit guides have been right about so many things. All I can say is I hope to write about this because otherwise I'm missing my opportunity to flee this country right now, right? So let's dive into it. The main reason why we're getting a reprieve, why we're going to have saved by the bell, as the guides are saying, is because of this. And it's not. I would like to say, I truly would like to say to you that it's humanity. That it's we wake up and we're going to all sing kumbaya, and we're all going to hold each other's hands and realize the the true meaning of why we're here on earth, which is to learn to love each other. But no, I don't have that for you this morning. I'm so sorry. What I have for you is power, 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 power. And the fact that we have the power being kind of centralized, right, in around this one person. And this person, 45, and I've never said his name. I've never said a lot of things because my spirit guides tell me routinely when I'm getting ready to be canceled, right? So I've always been a person who's tried to stay on this media as long as possible. So 45, because he's not 47 ever. That was all rigged and he was never shot. And a lot of other truthful things we've told you before media has caught up and said, you know what? I don't think, yeah, well, we've already been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and we're tired of waiting for media and everybody else to catch up. But that's okay. He centralized the power. And when he can't get that power on his own, he borrows it from someone else. So in this case, he's borrowing the power of CK, who's no longer with us. And I have my own thoughts about that too, right? I have a lot of thoughts about that, most of which I cannot mention because, again, I want to continue broadcasting, unlike, other comedians that have been taken off of their prime time. Nowhere near. I'm nowhere near what they are, and they've been taken down. And that's meant to quiet us. It's meant to make us be quiet, become quiet, and it's meant to also steal their power. So in this case, he's stealing the power of these very famous people and usurping it for his own. And in another case, he's stealing the power of CK. And so why is that? You're like, Susan, well, yeah, exactly. Duh. Like you don't have to be a psychic to tell us that this is happening. But how do we get saved by the bell if he's amassing so much power? Well, there's a couple of things that are happening. So I'm just pragmatic enough of a psychic to check my work, right? I don't live in la la land, and I wish I did, but I don't. I'm a news junkie. I'm a Virgo. I'm a Capricorn moon. I mean, look, I'm pretty rooted into reality. So I'm checking. What I do is I predict what the guides tell me. I say what they tell me to say, and then I look to reality to see if that timeline is going to come into alignment with reality. Everybody has free will. It's very, very hard to predict energy until I see it. When I see it in reality in my mind's eye, I know it's going to come true. I know Trump is not long for this world. I saw the man walk down my hallway wearing a diaper. Okay. I know that he is not long for this world, but he's long enough. He's staying here long enough to really hammer home some lessons. And what's happening right now is he's amassing that power and it's making people uncomfortable. Not only us, it's not just making us uncomfortable, it's actually making people who have power uncomfortable. How does Disney feel about this? How do they feel about kowtowing to such a fascist regime? How do they feel about that? Well, let me tell you, they are chafing at that and they're playing along to, it's almost as if they're riding on his coattails to get more power. Does that make any sense? Yes, it does to me because the guides just explained it to me. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, this is really sick. I mean, but this is where we are. Disney is using, and whoever it is, Disney et al., right? The whole group, whatever group they are, they're all amalgamation of power. They're using this to be able to go back to these artists and say, well, trust me, they're going to do this in the next 24 hours, 3 months, 6 months. It just depends, right? Depends on what these artists do. But they're going to go back to them and say, well, we'll let you come back on, but you have to do, they're being the same bullies. So 45 is saying, oh, you can go back on if you write, or maybe it's Disney that says if you write a nice apology and you give some money. Disney is stepping into that role themselves. They're saying, okay, I can control all these big artists that cost me a lot of money. I can knock them down 5 pegs. I can say, oh, it's not me. It's not us. We would never. It's this big bad wolf over here. And if you'll play nice with me, I'll play nice with the big bad wolf and then we'll all be happy. But Disney's actually involved in this. They're actually using this to make these artists get knocked down 5 pegs and to pay them less money. It's a new world order. Everybody's getting in their lines. Okay. They're getting in their power quotient. Now, Disney's no dummy. They understand they're going to outlast 45. This institution is going to outlast 45, and they can rebrand. They are masters. They are masters at imagination. They're masters at rebranding. So this to them is just like, well, we had to do what we had to do, but as soon as he's gone, they're all going to be singing a new tune, right? All of them are going to be singing. All the Republicans are going to rebrand. Everybody's going to say, well, I never really, or you're misquoting me. Write this down, please. It's going to happen. They're all going to rebrand, and he's going to be gone soon. And for them, this is just an opportunity to wield their power differently. Maybe they're not capitulating. Maybe they're getting more power. Have you ever thought about it like that? Because is this hurting them? Is everybody canceling Disney right now? Because I'm sorry to say that, yes, let's say 100,000 liberals cancel Disney. There's still millions and millions of other people who have no idea that this is happening. And they're counting on that. They're counting on that. They're counting on putting liberals in their place, at putting their highly paid artists, celebrities in their place. This is all everybody wielding power. Let's talk about part 2, which is the Reagan caucus. Oh my God, am I talking about the Reagan caucus? Yes. Am I talking about Tucker Carlson? Yes. Am I talking about Owens, Candace Owens, I think is her name. Yes, I am. Let's talk about those 3 and let's talk about power. All of a sudden, they don't have any. They're not like Disney. They don't have any power to wield right now. Their power's gone because, well, in Candace Owens's situation, she was a huge fan of CK and actually worked for Turning Point. And she has gone on video. I won't show it here, but if you Google it, you'll probably find it. Type in her name in Turning Point USA or CK. And she's looking at the camera like a woman looks at the camera, like she's going to reach in and grab your entrails and pull them out through your throat. If you've ever seen that look from a woman, this is the look she's giving the camera as she says, we know who did it and we know why you did it. And she's naming names, which I won't even name here. She's naming names, and they're not the person named Tyler. Okay, so she's already coming out with her own conspiracy theory, and she's already saying, no, I already know what went down. And I'm not going to give you a moment's rest until the whole world knows what went down, because she feels like she's been scorned and her power's been stolen. Okay. Number two, we have the Reagan caucus. The Reagan caucus, I didn't even know there was such a thing, but there is, because these evil SOBs never die. Their energy never dies. That's why democracy is a full contact sport. We cannot ever let up, because they never let up. Okay. The Reagan caucus came out and said, this is not how you do it. You don't get rid of free speech. That's not cool. Oh, did their power just get taken away? Because if you have only one person who can say what free speech is, then obviously the Reagan caucus is not that person. Tucker Carlson came out too. No, this is not cool. Because why? Because Tucker Carlson wants his own kingdom. He wants his own free speech. He wants to be able to say what he wants to say. He doesn't want to have to run it through some filter that's, goes through the presidency. Yeah. Did he make a misstep? Did he just step all over other versions of Republicans? Yes, he did. Power. Everybody is in it about the power. We've talked about this so many times about why people become Supreme Court justices. They could make a lot more money in private sector, especially if you've got that kind of wisdom or education or whatever it is, GPA, whatever you want to call it, to actually go all the way through the steps to reach to the highest court in the land. Why do they do it? For power. Now, some of them do it to wield their power to help, to shape or even to protect what has been enshrined in the Constitution. Everybody's wielding power. Every day when you get in your car and you turn right or left, you made a powerful decision. We really need to get better about accepting our own power, because what happens is when we don't accept our own power, somebody else uses it. You go to work, you have power. They hired you for a reason. They're giving you a paycheck for a reason. It's because you have power. You have the knowledge, whatever it is, even if you're anything at all. You show up, you do the work, you get a paycheck because they acknowledge your power. So these people are saying, I have enough power that I don't want to lose it, that I know about my power. I know the value of my power. And I'm not going to become some kind of subservient to your power. So this is why we're going to be saved by the bell, because these people are powerful. Think about the Cheneys. Do you see them getting on a knee, bending down before 45 or even Vance? Because I don't see that. And if they did, you better believe they're bending down to get something out of their boot. We all know what that is, right? It's not a popsicle. So this isn't going to go well. This is not America. America is very much, I'll have my power, thank you. You have your power, great. But you're not going to take my power. And that's what they're trying to do. That's what this regime is trying to do. They're trying to say, I have the power. I have all the power. It's just not going to work. It's not. So as we fast forward through this, and it does feel like time is like literally just moving at a pace right now. I feel like, and this is September 18th. And this is a day today is a day. Like I've been talking about September 18th for a long time. I don't know why. When psychics predict a day, it could also mean that something happened you don't even know about. It could be the day the plan came into motion. The plan was launched on that day. The actual outcome of the plan could be on the 25th. It could be next month. But these days are days where energy can be launched, right? Energy can come together, and you have the idea and you take the action on the plan. I feel like the bell, whatever I just said earlier, because I'm saved by the bell. Okay. I think that's what I said. I think that we're saved by the bell because this guy 45 trips up. I can't, he's not long for this world, but honestly, there's so many things and people interested in moving him out of the way that he could be moved out of the way in a lot of different ways. He could be exiled. Truly, he really could be, because he's messing with people that have a lot more power. These people have the Reagans, the Reagan caucus. The idea of Reagan is a monolith, right? Like this is like a big group of think tank, of people, of energy. This isn't, what does 45 represent? One measly, pathetic guy with a lot of backing from another country or two. That's it. Okay, so he's taken on, these other institutions. Now, these other institutions were all about it in some ways because he was doing their dirty work. He was doing the work they didn't want to be associated with. They didn't want to be seen as that, but they wanted that stuff to happen. They just didn't want it on their name. But now he's going too far and he's stepping on their power. So this is awakening in the fabric of the United States. It's awakening powers that are coming together, and they're going to come together. They're going to join forces. Unlikely bedfellows. They're going to join forces, and then they're going to go against him. So they move him out of the way, whether that's the great hamburger restaurant in the sky, or that's exiled, or that's a mental decline that is so sudden and so critical that it's undeniable. And then he gets 25th, he gets 25th amendmented out of there. Now, once that happens, this is like step one. And I really do believe this is going to happen before the end of October. It could happen tomorrow. It could happen today. These people have the kind of wherewithal, the kind of reach that can make things happen when they say it's going to happen. But they're also students of history, the guides are saying. They're not stupid. They're going to align with either energetic, truly, these people follow these things. They follow astrology. They follow energy. They follow numerology. Why wouldn't they? If they can add all the things, that can stack all the things in their favor, they're not going to leave something out. Maybe they don't believe, but they're going to do it just in case, right? So when they decide that all the things are aligned and the right outcome is assured, they'll strike. They'll do it. The thing will happen. Okay. Then we have Vance. Vance is just a complete, well, the guides called him a nincompoop, which is not something I would normally use. Nincompoop. Maybe, I don't know why they use that. Maybe that's to keep me from being censored. I don't know. So I didn't come off with some word that is going to make me get flagged, probably. So he's a non-starter. They're saying he's a non-starter. And I've always seen this. He won't have any support of Congress because then Congress is going to start rebranding. I never said it. I was never really a supporter. If you look carefully at my words, you can see that I didn't. They're just going to come out acting like nothing ever happened. And I'm giving you this heads up, you guys, because it's going to be such a bad head fake. You're going to get mental, psychological, physical, intuitive whiplash. You're going to be gaslit so hard that you're literally going to have physical symptoms, because you're going to be like, wait, didn't I just live through this? And they're going to scrub the internet, and it's going to look like it never happened. And for some people, and I think just the most, maybe this is for me, but one of the worst things is going to be when those people who never woke up, who never took their eyes off of whatever people do, like, I don't know, sports or reality TV, or I don't know what people do that are in some other land. They never took their attention off of that. They missed this whole thing. To them, this never even happened. So you and I are going to be left with this psychosis of, didn't we just live through this? Didn't this just happen? That's why a lot of these people that study authoritarian regimes are telling us all, screenshot, voice record your thoughts, journal, because next year, this is all going to be blank. And if it's not for us, then there's nothing. That's why they call us the watchers. We're watching what is happening, and we're actually writing the Akashic records every single day. Every day we watch what is happening. When we go to sleep, we upload it to the universal record books. That's great. So the universe has a record of it, but our little fragile mental minds that are so good at just disassociating might not. And if we don't remember what's happened, we won't be able to prevent it from happening again. And we won't be able to warn people about it happening again. There's still people who are saying, what do you mean this hospital is closing? What do you mean that my niece can't get Medicaid when she's so disabled? What do you mean that your husband is disappeared into a facility? What are you talking about? They literally do not live in this reality. They live in a reality. It's their reality. So we're saved by the bell. Everything goes back to normal. Well, it doesn't go back to normal because we can't go back. How did the guides describe it before I started doing this video? It's like glued back together. They said the United States will be glued back together. Except for, have you ever given like a 3-year-old some glue and told them to glue something back together? The pieces are like, they don't even align. They're not even in alignment. There's no way. They're just, things are glued haphazardly, but they're together. So I see this 3-year-old saying, but it's together. Yes, it's together, honey, but it doesn't look like what it used to look like. But it's together. That's us. We're going to be glued back together. And we're going to be able to breathe a sigh of relief. I think the most important thing is that, and the guides keep telling me this, and maybe it's, again, it's just me and my hyper reality kind of situation, detail oriented, whatever you want to call it. But they're like, a sigh of relief is important, Susan. A pause in battle is important. It's everything. We need time to regroup. We need time to internalize and talk about what we just went through. Because again, we're going to be gaslit, and we're going to be like, wait, did that just happen? So find people that you, even online or in your community or wherever, it's going to be very important. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you've gone crazy, disassociated. You did not. But that's us moving on. Really before we should be. I think that's what's catching me up here is we're moving on really before we should be. It's like you get out of that relationship and you're like, wow, I almost, lost everything. I almost went bankrupt, or I almost died, or, whatever. You're like, wow, that was a near miss. And then the next morning you get in another relationship because you're like, well, that'll never happen again. Right? Okay. So to me, I feel like we move on too quickly and we're not assimilating our lessons. But the guides are like, it doesn't matter. Your rear end is saved. You guys live to fight another day. That's important. Okay. And I think the other thing that's important is that this is why the guides, and I've talked about it, I don't know how many videos now, but get your list together, right? Like, what do you want to see this world be like? What is important to you? Free school lunches, more racial equity, more libraries, more safety net, more Social Security, more Medicare, Medicaid, disability, more care for the environment. What is it? I want you to continue working on your list. I want you to continue dreaming of this reality. You guys, we are going to manifest this. This is how you do it, right? Let's start caring and dreaming about it. And don't write it and then act like it's never going to happen. If you do that, you just spit on your own dreams. You dashed your own dreams. Don't do that. Leave that for the jerks in your family. Leave that for the jerks, who don't believe in you. You have to believe in you. You have to believe that this is possible. If you don't believe this is possible, then we're not going to have it. We need enough of us that are dreamers, enough of us that believe in the good that can happen. Because what the guides are saying is, yes, we get this Saved by the Bell. We get this moment or this time frame of a sigh of relief. Again, I'm just going to tell you guys that I think this could be JD Vance leading us. It could be a time when JD is pivoting, or even it could be a time that somebody else is in the White House and they're pivoting. But there is this sane washing of everything that happened that makes me crazy personally, but that's giving us time, right? It's buying us time, and that's important. So some of us will be fighting that and saying, no, you're not going to sane wash this. This didn't happen. You did say it. Here's the notes. Here's the internet lives forever, right? That's fine. Some of us are going to be doing that. Some of us are going to be taking a very well-needed break. And then others of us are going to be energized. We're going to have this strange energy come over us, and we're going to really move forward for ourselves. Maybe that's the time we decide to go back to school, the time we decide, hey, if I've got another shot at this freedom thing, if I've got another shot at this democracy thing, all of a sudden, all my dreams, I want to make them come true. And that's great. So some of us are going to be working on our dreams. Some of us are going to be working on holding them accountable, and others of us are going to be resting. All of that is important. And none of it could be done while he's in office. So even though JD might be in office, it affords us this break. And here's why. And I still have a cold, so I know you can hear it in my voice. I'm trying to get this video done before I start coughing. Here's why. Because as I've said many times, nobody respects JD. They didn't, not even 45. He didn't want him. He was made to take him on. This is all stuff we said in the very beginning. Nobody likes him. Nobody supports him. He thinks if 45 can concentrate enough power at the top, that he doesn't need Congress, that he doesn't need people. That's what this is all about. They're letting the madman run amok and gather all the power up. And when he gets enough of it gathered up, they're just going to move him to the side and install JD. Except for, here's the thing. The only reason 45 has power is because the courts are giving it to him. ABC, Disney is giving it to him. They're giving it to him. Why? Because he's enamored all of these people who use their services, who are buying their goods. There's more of them right now than there are liberals that are not doing those things, right? And then we add CK's incredible influence, which they are usurping. So now that's the power that he has. But here's what I want to tell you guys. CK's people don't like 45, and they hate JD. And now CK's people, I went down a rabbit hole yesterday. If you want to go down a rabbit hole, just look up the Groyper, Groyper, and look up nihilist, and look up max looking and transmaxing. Look up all those things, especially if you're a parent that has young men, young boys, or young men. You really should be checking this out, because those people are not Republicans. They're not libertarians. They're not liberals. They're not Democrats. They're a whole different subset of identity. And even in that identity, there's factions and splits. So they think, because they, again, they're power hungry, they're overconfident, they see some dude like CK and they're like, oh, we'll take all his people. They don't understand what's really happening behind the scenes. Number one. Number two, they don't understand CK's particular cult of personality that was able to bring a lot of those splinter groups together under him. Also, I saw a guy, I'm telling you guys, I went down a rabbit hole yesterday. I saw a guy that was going over the video of the thing that happened to CK. And this guy is deep into those communities, okay? And I saw things that make me believe that Tyler wasn't the shooter, and I haven't said a lot about it because it doesn't bring discourse anywhere. It doesn't really help anything. Truly, it doesn't help anything. But the thing that I want to say about this that does help is that at the end of this video, this man was crying over CK. Do you really think any MAGAs are going to cry over 45? I don't think so. I think we need to be very careful here. I think we need to understand that this cult of personality is incredibly virulent. It's incredibly strong. You have Candace Owens, right? You have people who are ride or die, and I mean truly ride or die. And they're now saying that the government was a conspiracy and that the government could be implicated. They're not lining up on his side. He didn't buy that influence. He didn't garner that influence. That influence isn't his. That influence is turning against him. And these kids, and I'll just call them kids because frankly, I don't look like an old lady, but I feel like an old lady. But anyway, I'm old. Okay. I'm older. Um, these kids are the kids I talked about last year. And I say these things. I'm kind of getting not thrilled about predicting the future because when I predict it, there's no emotion to it. Like I predicted the media downfall. My regular viewers know that. But man, it hurts. It hurts. Like my human version is like, this effing sucks, right? Like I'm tired of predicting this shit, because when I predict it, there's no emotion to it. But when it happens, it hurts like an MFer. Okay. So here's the thing. Last year I said to you guys, there's going to be these kids. And I called them the Gen Z or the 20s, the 18, 20, 25, 30-year olds. I said last year, when Biden was president, I said, if we don't do the things, if we don't really move the needle, if we don't really take the power, how much have I talked about this, you guys? How many times? Biden needed to take the power that wasn't even his. He needed to. He had immunity. He needed to. The Democrats needed to take the power to get rid of the filibuster. They never took the power. So guess who took the power? If you don't wield your power, someone else will take it. Okay. So what I saw was these kids. I said, there's these kids. And if we don't move the needle, like really, and Biden moved the needle quite a bit, honestly, he really did. And I think that's why, for the most part, they were calm. Like they were mostly just really calm. They were doing their own thing, right? They were just doing their own thing. Now, 45 has taken away all their stuff. He allegedly, someone executed their cult of personality leader. And what I saw last year before all that happened was these kids get riled up and they come for the midterms. And I said this, and I didn't understand at the time. I said, they don't care about anything. They don't care about what you care about. They don't care about 30-year-olds. They don't care. They're totally outside of our society. They don't care about jobs. They don't care about money. They don't care about relationships. Whatever our society says, hey, we like it when people dress a certain way or have a certain brand, or we like it when you drive a certain car. We like it when you have a family or you look a certain, your height, weight, proportionate. Come on, these are society's rules. I'm not making this shit up. Society says it's true. We all know it's true because if you fall outside of the society's rules, you get fat shamed or you get, discriminated against. We know this. Let's just call it what it is. These kids, they live for that. They live. They're like goth times 1,000, 1,000,000%, because they're nihilist. So they're like devil advocate. Like 1 minute being gay is cool, the next minute being gay is bad, and they can say it out of their own mouth and never even care that it's ironic. How do you deal with that? How do you work with someone who's so completely scattered? And some of the therapists, I went down a dark hole. They're like, these kids have no center. They have no grounding. They're literally, they have nothing. They have no identity. They have no identity. And the identity they have is so twisted. What they're doing in some of these groups is this is what Fuentes does, right? Like this is documented. This is not hearsay. This is literally, you can see this in reality. These young men, that can't meet whatever it is that society or this particular subset of society says. They can't be masculine or whatever, they turn out to be femboys. So then they try to be femboys to attract these men who say that women are horrible. I have to say that one of the things that seems to be a constant is this hatred of women. So now they just objectifying femboys instead of women. It's really not healthy. Let's just put it that way. So this group has now burst onto the stage because they're mad. This is the group I was talking about last year. I didn't know who they were. I just knew that there was this group of young people that were going to be iconoclasts. They were just going to be like, we're going to burn it all down. We're going to burn it all down. We'll vote for the worst person just because y'all think too much of yourselves. We just want to bring all of society down several pegs. They're not doing it like MAGAs because they're racist. They're doing it because they just want to burn it all down. And I wonder if, as we said, we are supposed to be burned down, right? We are supposed to be dissolved, like the guide said 2 years ago, dissolution. Again, I say these things and it doesn't hurt, but then when it happens, it hurts. So yeah, we're losing all of our institutions. I would tell you, I think every single institution is going to go through some sort of major reworking, if not complete and total dissolution and rebuilding. That's why the guides talk so much about rebuilding. That's why they want you to be excited about the rebuilding. That's why they want you to be plugged into the rebuilding. Please, for the love of God, let's not let these, nihilists or the money rebuild this. Let's not let them be the only people at the table. Knowing these things is power. Now you understand. We as adults, we really must step in and help these kids, because here's what I see. I swear, this is the last thing I'm going to say. Yes, these kids, whatever they are, 25, 35, I don't know what they are, 18, 15, 12, I don't know. At this moment, they hate Republicans. They hate them. They don't like 45. The only people that's ever been kind to these kids are liberals. The only people who's ever been gentle, understanding, have been teachers, counselors, liberals. They know that if they had to survive, that a liberal is going to come along and help them. Now, that's a problem because that triggers their own self-hate. If you try to love somebody that hates themselves, what happens? They push you back. They hate you more, because how can you love me? I'm full of hate. I'm full of, vileness. Don't love me, right? So that's the problem they have with liberals, because they're like, y'all are just stupid. Y'all are just stupid. But in this moment, I think that they understand their own survival truly depends on the center and the left, or the center left. So in this moment, there's possibility, there's potential that this group could actually swing a little bit our way and help us. So do I see these kids voting in 26? I do. I see them voting, and I see them swinging more. I don't see them swinging completely into nihilism, because, in my opinion, nihilists exist because of me, because I'm so positive. The fact that I'm so positive allows them to be nihilist. If we were all nihilists, they wouldn't be nihilist. Everything is balancing. Everything is balancing, right? So I think that we have an opportunity here that JD gets into office. He is absolutely stonewalled. I mean, stonewalled. Maybe just stoned. I don't know. And I mean that in all different directions. But he's ineffective. The guides are saying he's ineffective. That gives us the opportunity to take a breath. It gives us an opportunity to regroup. But I want you, whatever role you fall into, if you need a rest, take a rest. Take 2 months off of. I literally might take a month off of politics. I mean, it's been brutal. It's been very, very hard to be in this energy. So do what you need to do to take care of yourself. But know that we need you to be plugged in at some point, right? And that could be that you say, Susan, I'm never going to do politics again, which is fine. Then get involved in your local community. Get involved with volunteering locally. This is where it all comes down to. He cannot take over this entire country. He cannot. Who is it? Was it Chicago that lined up all their salt trucks in a line to form a barricade? He cannot take over this whole country. What he's doing, I wrote this on Threads, what he's doing is he's found our vulnerable spots. Like, think about the most tender spot on your skin, on your body. Then imagine somebody, pinching it with the most nasty, horrible, sharp pinch that you can imagine. That's what he's doing to our country. He's pinching us in our most vulnerable spots. And that can cause your whole body to feel pain. But it's not your whole body. It's not our whole country. It hurts like crazy and it's horrible, but it's not our whole country. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't pay attention to it or rush to those people's aid or that area's aid. That doesn't mean that. But it also doesn't mean that he's taken over the whole country. If everybody allows him to, if we believe that, then we are obeying in advance. Then we are going to be taken over. But I don't see that. We're too ornery. We're too different. We're so supremely different. I just talked about a whole subset of community that you probably didn't even know about. That is living, breathing, existing in our country. The Reagan caucus is against. Tucker Carlson's against. Candace Owens is against. These people are on the same side and yet saying, no, it's not going to happen. I need my power too. So that's why this is all going to fall apart. And that's why when we get rid of 45, we get us a JD, I feel like that's when the criminal starts. I think that's when all the criminal, it's like we wake up from a really bad dream and realize it wasn't a dream. All the criminal stuff starts happening because he doesn't have the power. He just doesn't have 45's power. JD is not going to call Disney or ABC or CBS and say, get rid of somebody. They're going to laugh at him. He doesn't have it. That's why when he's there, I'm not worried. Is he evil? Yes. Will he be bad? Yes. Will he do worse things? Probably yes. But we'll fight against him more because he doesn't have the energy or the power that this other guy has. That's just the way it is, right? So as soon as he's in office, the timer starts to get rid of him and to start reversing things. Now, the money would rather we just reverse everything back to the way it was. But you again, it's all glued together, but that it's sticking out at all these different angles. It's not going to work. It's not. Okay, the guides corrected me. It is going to work in the sense that we're together, but it's not going to be seamless. All the edges don't connect. The edges are still sticking out. So that could be that you have continued energy around states saying, nope, we're not participating with the rest of the country. So that could be why. Yeah, are we still a country? Yes, but we're not together seamlessly anymore. And then as we go forward into 2026 and we deal with JD, we either put him in a place where he's toothless, powerless. He's a figurehead. The guide said he's a figurehead. And then we get our Congress back, and then we start getting the courts back. So if that's the case, if we get our Congress back and the courts back, JD can stay president, and it doesn't matter because he's back in the figurehead position. There's not a lot he can do. He can't veto anything if we have Congress. He can be there and not be able to do the things. So please wrap your head around this. We need to stop going all the way to the bottom of the floor and saying it's all over, it's all over, it's all over. It's not over. This is not over. Far from over. Is it painful? Yes. We please admit that. Let's feel all our feelings. It's painful. I don't want to experience it. That's all true. But it's not over. Those two things are different. Just because you break your leg doesn't mean your leg is amputated. It hurts. It's in a cast. You got to deal with it. You got to walk funny. You're limited. Your leg is not gone. It's just getting fixed. Okay, so that's where we are right now. Thank you for watching this video. Time is coming up on my next class, the 27th, which is Rebirth in the Phoenix. This is what we're doing right now, you guys. This is why Spirit had me and my good friend Afefe Tahimba teach this class, because you need to understand. I need to understand. We all need to understand. We're not going back. We have to go through the Phoenix. We have to go through the death and rebirth of ourselves. My identity based on being an American is very different now. Who am I? What do I think of America? What do I think of my citizenship? Where do I go? What do I think of my community, of my friends, of my family? I can't be that person anymore. I know too much. How do I move forward? That's what we're going to be talking about in this class. It's only $33. It's this, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, the 27th. It's in the middle of the day. You'll have to go to my website, susanlynnmedium.com. You'll get a recording. You can sign up for it. So if you can't make it on Saturday, sign up for it and get the recording. It's practical. It's steps. It's going to inspire you. It's going to educate you. And it's going to be something that you can take forward with you into 25, 26 and make the best of it. Because even though all this is burning down around us, we're still getting up and going to work. We're still getting up, making coffee, making breakfast. We're still getting up, taking care of our kids, our pets. We have to live through this. So we might as well figure out how to live the best life we can through it. You know, the best thing that we can hurt them with is all of us becoming more empowered, not scared, not victims, more empowered in our lives. I know who I am. I know what my value is. You know, I hope that Jimmy Kimmel and Fallon and just Colbert and all these people and Joy Reid, all these people that have been canceled, the idea was for them to step into their own power. This is what I talked about 2 or 3 years ago. I said this was going to happen. I wrote Joy Reid and told her it was going to happen. I did not get a response. And I wish today that she would start her own production company. That's what this energy is about. This energy is about that institution probably isn't working for you, and it's going to crumble anyway. So what unique skills do you have? How can you live beyond the institution? How can you carry forth by yourself or in a new role? But if you don't know your power, if Stephen Colbert, if all these people don't know their power, if they're like, well, my only power is ABC, my only power is Disney, that's BS. I've told all of these people, please, for the love of God, start your own sitcom on Netflix. Start your own show on YouTube. YouTube is the new Netflix. I've been saying this for years. So it goes for you and me too. Because this energy is not going to let us sit on the sidelines. It's not going to let us be a victim. It's not. It's saying we need all your voices. All of you have a voice. All of you count. Yes, get a rest. A rest is not sitting on the sidelines. A rest is resting. That's important. But hiding from this energy, I don't think is going to work. Trying the people like Candace Owens, right? She tried to be a CK stan. She tried to be, this man made fun of her. This man talked bad about her, her race, her sex. And yet she was worshiping his ground. And where is she now? Tossed out with no power. She's been scorned, not only by the guy that she worshiped, by the people who took him out. Her role is to get her own power. Who are you, Candace? Not who are you in relation to CK. Who are you? Right? You're good enough. You don't have to be subservient to some white dude to be good enough. That's what we're dealing with right now. That's the energy we're dealing with right now. That's why they're trying to make people, that's why they're so racist right now, because they're trying to tell you that, hey, you don't have any power. I have the power. Spirit is saying we all have the power. Okay. So check out my website, susanlynnmedium.com for that. Also, check out my website for my online community. You guys, it is a whole city over there. Several thousand people interacting every day with each other, sharing, supporting. I'm there 6 hours a month, 3 hours doing readings, 3 hours doing my Soul Growth Sunday. Plus, I'm there another hour bringing outside professionals in to give you classes. So this week, I think it might even be tomorrow night, I have Donna Norris doing a class on prosperity bowls. Would you like to know how to build a prosperity bowl? Guess what? Join my group. You can learn that. It's $12 a month. You can cancel any time. Plus, I have a whole separate set for politics. If you want to be able to talk about politics in this age where it's not safe to talk about it, you can join my group and go into democracy dialogue section and talk about politics all day long and be supported and not have to worry about somebody finding your identity or trolling you or anything like that, because it's completely safe, because it's not on Meta. It's not on YouTube. It's on a separate, completely separate platform that I pay for. Okay. So that is there for you. Also in that same platform, I have the other section, which is just generally open to anything but politics. So if you're tired of hearing politics, you can just go over to the other side and join that side as well. All the videos of all the past classes, and there have been many professionals giving classes there, are available for you. So it's like an online video library. So if you join after Donna Norris or anybody else gives their amazing class, then you can still watch it because it's there for you. All my readings are there for you. So you have a full video library as well. So you can find out about that on my website, susanlynnmedium.com. The last thing, are you ready to meet your fellow people in person? Because I am. Every year I host Connect to Empower. This is my third annual. First one was in Chicago, kick things off. Last year we were in Denver. This year we're in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Honestly, one of my favorite cities in the country. It's magical. It's such a magical place. We're going to be meeting there for 3 days this November. I have just a handful of seats left, but there are a few open because, people's schedules change and things like that. Tickets become available. I'm going to be there with 5 other sidekicks with me, 3 days, over 20 hours of content, including activities, including a scavenger hunt where you're looking for signs in the beautiful city of Santa Fe, including one of my favorite things, which is a costume party. We had one the first year. We're having one now. So bring your costumes. We are going as our spirit guides, our archetypes, right? So it's going to be fun. It's always fun. I invite you to think about joining us there. Connect to Empower in Santa Fe, New Mexico, this November 13 through 15, 3 days. Give it to yourself as a gift. Come be with us. Be surrounded by people just like you. Come out changed, come out transformed, because that's what we do at Connect to Empower. You can learn more about that on my website, susanlynnmedium.com. You guys, we're going to make it through this. We're going to be battered. We're going to be, put back together looking like some kind of transformer gone wrong. But we're going to be together, and that's the most important thing. No, the most important thing is planning for the future. That's the most important thing. I want you to be excited about it. I want you to be excited about the idea of rebuilding these institutions. It's a lot like a natural disaster has come through, and you've got to rebuild everything. You want to be at the table when they're talking about the thing you care about, whatever that is. I'm telling you, our money's going to be rebuilt. all of our safety net, how we do things, the postal service. I don't think there's going to be anything about our government that's going to be left untouched. And maybe they're touched in a very small way, or maybe it's touched in a very big way, but everything needs to be touched. It can't stay the way it is. It's literally locked and it can't move anymore. There's no flexibility. It doesn't represent who we are in 2025 and where we're going in 2035. We can't get to 2020, we can't get to 2035 using the same government we have in 2025. That's what they just said. We must go through it. And if we have to go through it and tidy it up and sharpen it up and make it a little bit better and whatever that is, then I want us to be the ones to do it. Okay. So take a lot of rest right now so that when we're ready to get in there and really be active, you and I have the energy to do it. Okay. Let me know your comments down below. I really appreciate you tremendously. Take really good care of yourself. And I'll see you really soon here on YouTube. Well, or as long as I can be here on YouTube, I will see you on YouTube. Don't forget, if you connect with me through these other ways, you can always find me. And if you're still watching, check your subscription, because even though people are subscribed, they're not seeing my videos or having to go look for them. Make sure that you're still subscribed. Make sure you click the bell. And if you're not subscribed, why not go ahead and do that now? The more you interact with people that you like, the more chances you will get of seeing them show up in your feed. So if you're a lurker like me and you don't normally comment, on occasion, throw a comment down below, because it'll help you stay connected to the accounts that you really want to connect to. YouTube pays attention to all of those things. It all goes into the algorithm. If you're commenting, if you're liking, if you're sharing, if you're subscribed, all those things mean YouTube wants to continue showing you that content. If you don't interact with the content, it'll show you different content, because YouTube wants you to watch. That's all they want. They want you to be super involved in the content. Okay, so hopefully that describes why that might be happening for you. Take really good care. I'll see you again really soon. For entertainment purposes only,